Hello, can you hear me?
Back.
Hmm.
Everyone online hear me?
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Awesome.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Great. Hi, Rob Barley.
Hey, Robert. Mike said he was coming online, right? Okay, we'll give him a minute. Yeah. Hey, Mike, how's your sound?
Hi, Bill. I can hear you well.
Good. We got you too. Good. Did Yishan didn't say he was coming? Or no? Okay, all right. Great. All right, let's start recording. It is 3 o'clock. Let's get rolling. Welcome everyone to the March 21st Monroe County Planning Board meeting. There are, well, we have to close out the open comment period. We've got a couple votes on the CIP and the priorities, and we've got a few presentations here today. So let's get rolling. I'll take roll. Bill Santos, I'm here. Mike Wiedemer.
Here.
Sam Trapani. Andrew Hollister.
Awesome.
Orlando Rivera. That he was going to be late, right? Yishan? Okay. Dave Watson.
Here.
Robert Barley.
Here.
Robert Barley, I see you there.
Here, can you see me? Can you hear
Yeah.
me? Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Andre Evans. Robert Colby.
Here.
Rachel Barnhart.
Here.
Thank you. Jeff McCann.
Here.
Welcome, Jeff. Adrian Green. Amy Grower. Laura Smith.
Here.
Robert Franklin.
Afternoon, Carolyn.
Afternoon. Josette Mangieri. Richard Tantalo. Christina Doherty. Mike Garland. And Sean Murphy. Okay, that's board members. Yishan, you want to introduce staff?
Planning staff here. We have our senior associate planner, Pat Gooch is here. And we also have 2 department of aviation, director of Andrew Moore, thanks for coming, and director of Department of Transportation, Tom Price here. So welcome.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming out. First item on the agenda is approval of the March 14th meeting minutes. I need a motion for those, please.
So move.
Thank you, Andrew. Is there a second?
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Colby. Any discussion on those? Any corrections? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, minutes are approved. Thank you. Announcements and communications. I have something here. Last week we had in the open, the public comment period for the CIP, we had a question from Mr. Collins at Henrietta, and we have a response from County Parks, which states, as of March 15th, the historic investment of the Go Outside Monroe initiative made by the county executive has transformed many of the park's facilities, amenities, and spaces into more welcoming, inviting, and useful accommodations. One cannot visit a county park without seeing those improvements, from asphalt parking lots or roads to lighting improvements to the facilities themselves. The paved river trail mentioned in the note located north of the canal is not a county parks asset. Thus, we would recommend that the individual contact the authority with jurisdiction, which most likely is the city of Rochester. State Parks does have assets north of the canal. The state parks may also need to be contacted. Next paragraph, county parks can, with 100% certainty, state that the Lehigh Valley Trail is under our jurisdiction. Together with our partners, the town of Mendon, the Mendon Foundation, the department resurfaced over 5 miles of the Lehigh Valley Trail. This endeavor was the first time a large-scale maintenance effort was undertaken at the park. We are very proud of the work accomplished during the light winter season, and our trail work will continue in 2024. Trail systems are a critical component of our park system, thus our collective effort to improve these assets from the recent work at Northampton Park to the ongoing work of our partner agency, GROC. Trails are always a focus area for our team. That was the response from County Parks. Did we receive any other comments? Okay, so I need a motion now to close the comment period.
So move.
Thank you, David. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Sean. So under comments, we will send a response to Mr. Collins. If any other comments come in, we'll probably notify the board here. So great, thank you. Hearing no other comments, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any objections? Great. Comment period is closed. Next item on the agenda is a vote to recommend the proposed 2025 through 2030 capital improvement program to the county executive. That presentation was given to you a couple weeks ago. It was also, we had a public hearing on it last week. Is there a motion for that? Thank you, Sean. I need a second on that, please.
Second.
Thank you, David. Any discussion? I want to thank County Planning and all the departments for the work that they do starting in October. You know, it's a year-long process. So thank you for that and keeping the planning board up to date throughout the year. Nice job. Hearing no other discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Oh, sorry.
Aye.
Question about procedures. My understanding is we should present the 2025 priority ballot for everyone to see before we do that.
No, we've historically we've done that after. So the priority ballot. So this is just on the 6-year program. So what are you thinking, Pat?
The priority ballot is a part of the 6-year program. So it should be, it can be separate, but the entire document, this is a subsection of that document. So I would recommend that you move with it first and then go to the actual document.
Okay. All right. Well, I got a motion and a second on this right now. So I can't bring two up at the same time. And historically, we've done it this way. So, and that.
You have to approve the CIP before you actually prioritize it.
Yeah, I mean that's been the thought.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're okay with that.
I'm okay with whatever this board decides.
Yeah. So, and this priority sheet will be included on the front, right? Like the third page in or something like that. So,
A motion at the end to include the priority vote in the approved.
yeah, and that's our next. That's what will be our next motion too. So after this discussion, so if everyone's okay with moving forward on the CIP vote, I get it's okay. Good. Any other discussion on the CIP? Its components? Any other questions for departments, numbers? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, thank you. The CIP is approved, that 6-year document. Now, I do need a motion to, actually, before we do this, can we pass out the priority list? So people have a minute to review it. Yeah,
Tad, is it doable to email electronic copy?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll second that. Thank you.
I'm gonna give you a few minutes here to review it because we haven't, it's fresh. So these are the online. Can you see this yet?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. So this is the 2025 priority vote. The results of all of our votes were taken in Wednesday, right?
Correct.
Did everyone get a chance to vote, or most people?
We have most people vote.
Okay, good.
This list is based not on how we saw the list, this, or by department, this list is ranked by the average vote,
Yeah,
the way I read it.
Yeah, so as you're reviewing this, I can explain how the process comes together. So all voting planning board members have the ability to vote on the priority for the 2025 budget year. In that system, there is a ranking from 1 to 5, 1 being the highest number that you choose for the priority, 5 being the lowest. And from that, we get an average, and that average is then used to re-rank the 2025 year projects. This year, I'll note that there's one slight difference to prior years. Because we only have a range of 1 to 5, we often get a lot of very similar numbers. And so there is a question of how these should go. Historically, they've either been alphabetized or moved by this board. What I did, at least for this first round, is then use the count or the number of 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s to essentially give you a better sense of who voted for it the most with number 1, who voted the number 2, so on and so forth. So therefore, they are prioritized according to the most amount of high responses, in addition to the average to create a tiebreaker in effect.
yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, thank you for doing that.
And then nothing really to note in terms of the rankings. The one thing that you'll note is that the ranges are always pretty close. The one other thing, and I don't have it up there to display, but I did put the rankings in a graph compared to the cost, just to see if there's any sort of relationship between those two things. And there really isn't. When you look at it, it is they're, whether it's 1 or 76, they're all over the board. And that is the one other thing to note. There are 76 projects in this 2025 budget year. Any questions on the rankings that you're reviewing now, or how they've played out?
Nowhere does it designate which ones are cash capital.
No, the cash is not there. The information here is county, district, enterprise, private, state, federal. It doesn't go down to the cash level. You could refer to your CIP book.
It's in
Right, right, right.
But that's a good suggestion for next year.
And so as a reminder, the average numbers won't show up. It'll just be a list, right?
In the CIP booklet, yeah, the averages are removed.
And it's strictly in case there's a finance issue.
Correct. And this is
As a
typical
tool.
across many counties. In the event that there is not enough funding to cover all of the projects, there is at least a priority that is recommended by this board. So that way, if choices need to be made, there is one level of review that can be done to make that.
And it'll be the legislature's final
Also, yeah,
decision ultimately.
Guide to the legislature.
Right, right. Okay.
because the cash could be different as far as being able to meet the cash needs
Right.
versus what we bond for. So the cash one could get you in trouble before the bond in practicality. Is that not a fair statement? Not that
I guess
not that I
I would rephrase-
visualize either of them, okay?
Yeah.
I guess I will phrase it differently. We generally do the cash transfers beginning of February.
Okay.
We used to do them January 2nd. We don't do that anymore. Just in case we need a little time. But once those cash transfers are made, the legislative authority is to do the transfer. There's no authority to go back the other direction unless we get new authority.
That's what,
Unless we get new authority
from the
from the
left.
ledge.
And really, if it, when it comes down to it, the ledge will have to make some decisions there. If
Yeah,
there's,
but I'm just saying, this
yeah.
list combines the two, so you.
Sure, yeah, does make it. Well, same thing with grant money that comes in. If something down lower on the list, all of a sudden there's money. The ledge will probably decide to move forward with it, so.
Well, most of the grant money comes in afterwards, but we approve
Oh,
the
right.
bond up front, so the project's done, and
Yeah,
if the grant money doesn't come through, the county's on the hook.
yeah,
Is the way
Right.
it works,
yeah.
which is,
Good
I don't
point.
know if that's ever really happened. Frankly,
It
saying,
has.
yes, it has. Hopefully not too often.
Too often, not to a frightening extent.
I make a motion that we set this list and forward it to the county executive to include it into the CIP plan.
Thank you, Legislator Colby. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. McCann. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Right,
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, thank you. List will be included in the CIP. Next item on the agenda. Several action items. First one is to amend the 2024 capital budget to increase the funding for the runway 422 connector taxiways project at the Frederick Douglass Greater Rochester International Airport in the amount of $3.5 million from $130,000 to $3.630000 for a total project authorization of $3,630,000. I need a motion for that, please. Mr. Franklin, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. And Mr. Moore, you're on.
Excuse me, thank you. Sorry with my voice, it's a little scratchy today. The airport meets with the FAA a couple times a year. Met with them last fall of 2023. They were very interested in getting this project up and running in 2024. New advisory circulars that came out from the FAA basically identified a need for airports to look at turn radiuses on their taxiway connectors from runways to taxiways. As you can see, runway 422 is our main north-south runway. Pretty much 90% of all flights depart and land on this runway. There was identified 8 specific spots on this runway that don't meet the new standards set by the FAA. Taxiway A1, there's 2 spots. Taxiway E, there's 4 spots. And then taxiway C, there's 2 spots. These are connectors that the turn radiuses need to be increased in order for safe operations of aircraft and cargo aircraft, commercial aircraft, cargo aircraft, along with general aviation aircraft. This particular project is funded 90% through FAA, 5% through the state, and 5% through Monroe County Airport Authority funds. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Moore?
Is this basically so the planes get off the runways faster?
Well, I wouldn't put it that way, but, sure.
Does it have to do with that when they ran off the runway, taxiway? Because they were turning when that happened, wasn't it?
Sure, yes, that was down at, the southern end of runway 422 on, taxiway. I think it was, A1.
I mean, I
actually.
don't, it was snowing out, so I don't know if the
Yeah.
ice had a factor on it. But they slid off. the
There's
side.
different interpretations of
What
what happened
happened?
on that. Certainly have a different one compared to American Airlines interpretation. Ultimately, the Transportation Safety Board will give a ruling on that, and that is not out yet. But this really has nothing to do with that particular incident.
But it would make it less likely because it would have gave them more room for their air.
It will increase those radiuses of those turn angles, yes.
Yeah, I was on a flight recently within, they had nose started to come up and they had dropped it back down and they put the brakes on. So, and then we used that A1 to get. So
Yeah,
we used
that
the
could,
whole runway on that one.
yeah, A1 and A2 obviously get used when you're coming in from the north, heading south on runway 22.
Yeah.
Depending on where that aircraft lands on the runway. If they land a little bit long, they'll use A1. If they land, where they're supposed to land, they tend to use A2.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, every time I've flown in, we go A2, but
Yep.
this one we were taking off and we never got off the ground. So
Yeah.
we used the whole runway on that
Yep.
one. So, yeah. Any other comments?
Time limits or not time limits, projected time of completion?
So they're looking at starting that later this year, and it will roll into 2025.
It'll be done in such a way that won't interfere with day-to-day operations.
Correct. Yes. I
You don't have
mean,
to shut down.
no, we don't need to close the runway for this. And quite honestly, a lot of the airplanes, the pilots have the choice of what runways they want to use, whether they use a 422, which is the one where this project is, or they can even use 1028, which is our crosswind runway that goes east and west. So there's always options for them to do that. And construction will be done, a lot of construction will be done in the evening to try to narrow down the amount of aircraft arriving and departing. But that will be all worked into the final plan for construction. But the runway will not be closed.
Any other questions? Hearing no other questions, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Motion is approved. Next, you're welcome. Next, thank you for coming in. I think that is, yeah, that's your last one, isn't it? Thank you for coming in. Next item on the agenda is to amend the 2024 through 2029 CIP to advance the Jacobs Road Bridge project from 2028 to 2024 and amend the 2024 capital budget to add a project entitled Jacobs Road Bridge in the amount of $312,000. I need a motion for that, please.
So moved.
Second.
And I heard Mr. Barley. Was that Mr. Barley or was it
Sir.
Mr.
That's me.
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Barley.
Okay. I know, right?
Live on that road.
All right, I've got Sean and Robert Barley, sorry. Since they both moved it. Is there, let's see, Mr. Freeze is here.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. Yeah, so basically this is just one of the bridges that we've had in our program. It was originally scheduled for design in 2028, but we submitted for Bridge New York funding and it was approved. So therefore 95% of the costs are reimbursable. So it's pretty much a slam dunk, move it up, get it in the Bridge New York program and get the design going on it sooner rather than later.
What's the requirements for the state to meet that bridge requirement to get that grant?
Basically you have to submit the applications. And then we compete with all the other bridges and culverts in the state, and then they're ranked by another municipality. And then they rank all of the bridges that were submitted, and then they select. So we basically have to give the bridge, like what rating the bridge is right now, what the needs of the bridge are, things like that. And then they prioritize what bridges need the funding more.
Who's the municipality that does it?
It's, I mean, like
Transportation Council?
no, like over here, Joe Kleinberg works for New York State, so Joe Kleinberg here is evaluating other areas.
Oh, I see.
Kevin Rooney, he's the county highway superintendent for Wayne County.
I
I know he evaluates them, but he evaluates them for like Albany or something else.
see.
Just,
It's peer review.
yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
We're trying to make it more local if we can, because we know our bridges, somebody in Albany doesn't know our bridges, so it makes more sense to do it that way. So
Sure.
we're slowly working toward having it that way, so.
Makes sense. Any other questions, Robert? Hey, any other questions for Tom? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? You guys have it. The next item on the agenda is to amend the 2024 through 2029 capital improvement program and the 2024 capital budget to add a project entitled Walker Road Bridge in the amount of $348,000. I need a motion for that, Mr. Franklin.
Yes.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Colby. And you're back up.
All right, thank you again. This is another bridge. It's located in the town of Hamlin. So Hamlin's going to be getting some love from us regarding bridges over the next few years. Same thing. This one was not in our CIP, but it was on our future list to have some work done. So again, submitted Bridge New York, and it was one of the ones that was selected. So 95% reimbursable.
Nice.
I guess what makes you pick which bridge to put in the application?
We inspect all of our bridges every 4 years, and from those inspections, we basically have a hierarchy, an internal hierarchy of what structures are in the most need of repair, and we prioritize them based on that.
So why wasn't this one in our CIP?
Because I only have so much money in the CIP to work
the
with
bridges on
between
the
roads and
CIP are
bridges.
worse than this bridge?
Well, pardon me?
The bridges in the CIP is worse than this bridge?
Yes.
So none of those approved, but this one could make it? I mean, why didn't you take one that was already in our CIP instead of one that wasn't even?
Because some of the ones in their CIP were already in the design already, or were already in construction already. These are the ones we focused on were the ones that were the future ones.
Okay.
So.
And you rank them, do you use the New York State, that 1 through 7 ranking? Or you have a different ranking?
We have our
right?
own ranking. New York State inspects all of the bridges every 2 years. So
Okay.
we use their rankings as well as our rankings.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your ranking was what, 1 through 5 or something like that? I
Yeah,
forget. Something-
yes, yeah,
right.
yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah. Any other questions on this motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? You guys have it. Next item is to amend the 2024 through 2029 capital improvement program in the 2024 capital budget to add a project entitled Fountain Hill Road Culvert in the amount of $773,000. I need a motion for that, please.
Oh,
Thank you, Mr. Colby.
Second, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Franklin. And Tom, back up.
Okay, thank you again. This bridge is located in the town of Mendon. Same thing as the other 2 bridges. This is actually Bridge New York, but this one's slightly different because it's actually a culvert, so it's 100% funded.
Oh. Why did they do that?
I don't know.
Yeah,
And I really couldn't tell you. That's just the way the program, what it
Okay.
works.
yeah.
Apparently we pay too much in state taxes. Just have to give the money away.
I guess, just a quick technical question, it's obvious that this culvert is considered a bridge.
No, the only difference is the span width. If it's a span width of 20 feet or greater, it's considered a bridge. If it's under 20 feet, it's considered a culvert.
Okay.
The only difference.
Interesting.
Thank you.
Sure.
That's a good question. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Motion carries. And that was the one more. Okay. Next item.
Tuesday, huh?
Right. Right. Next item is to amend the 2024 capital budget to increase the project authorization by $3,450,000 from 8.7 million to $12,150,000, making the total project authorization $12,150,000 for the East River Road project in the town of Henrietta. A motion for that, please.
So moved.
Mr. Barley,
Yes, sir.
I heard, is it Robert Franklin? Thank you. And Tom, you're back up.
Okay, thank you again. So East River Road is located in the town of Henrietta. The project is going to go from I-90 throughway all the way up to basically RIT. It's a rehabilitation job. We have adding some left turn lanes, right turn lanes, two-way left turn lanes, drainage. We have been working with the town of Henrietta because they had some requests that they wanted to do as part of our project. They wanted to install a multi-use trail for a majority, not maybe not a majority, but a lot of the project. And so we entered into an agreement with them, and what they were doing is they were actually collecting seeker fees and other fees that they are contributing to this project so that we can basically pay for the things that they need. The money's coming from developers. So whenever they have like a development come in, that certain development creates additional traffic. So if it was a standalone project, they would be forced to put in a left turn lane by themselves or whatever the needs were. So working with the town of Henrietta, we said, okay, why don't we just collect the money? Once the Henrietta collect the money, give it to us, and then we can add everything that's needed through the corridor all at the same time. So even though I'm asking for, I forget how much it was there, the town's actually gonna be reimbursing us 3.6 million of it from the fees that they're getting from the developers and all the fees.
3.6.
That's great.
It is
Yeah.
good.
So
Yeah.
we did have some additional right-of-way costs. Some of the inflation costs went up, but of the increases that we're doing, we're pretty much getting everything we need from the towns.
So are you building a trail next to the road or included into a wider lane for the trail?
Nope, it's gonna be next to the road. Actually, there's a parcel where it actually kind of goes in like a square. And then it comes back to the road and then follows the road.
Because that's real close to RIT campus.
Yeah.
Yeah, the red line basically ends right about at RIT. Ward Road. It's not a big road by any means, but it's a road that goes in RIT.
There's student housing on this road.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, the old racket club on the west side.
Yeah. And there's been a lot of pedestrian. Yeah, there's been a lot of pedestrian issues. There's accidents, and it's just gonna address.
A
Some of
lot
those
of it,
issues.
yes.
Okay.
We're putting in some new signals and also some pedestrian signals.
Yeah.
For they'll be able to walk and the audibles and all that.
The width,
Absolutely.
so your trail it's gonna be a walking and.
It's a
Right.
multi-use trail, so it's
Yeah.
not a concrete sidewalk. It's a 8-foot wide asphalt path, basically.
Yeah. Wow.
What is the length of the project? How many miles?
Roughly, probably a couple.
Oh, really? Okay.
A couple. So I mean, it's, I don't know if I have the exact.
So it's from the thruway almost to Jefferson, right?
Yes.
Right when, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
And was the 3.6 million?
That's more than 2 miles, by the way.
How much?
It's more than 2 miles.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, it's way more than 2 miles.
Was the 3.6 million included in the original 8.7 million, or was that
No.
added in?
No.
So we're getting like 200 grand back basically by their commitment.
All along, they were gonna have a portion to contribute
Okay.
to the project. That was there from the beginning, but then they just kept adding more,
Okay.
And then we incorporated it also from the original number. I think I need 3.8 million and they're giving me 3.6. Was the way I think the numbers finally worked out.
Yeah, I think it's increasing 3.4, but they're giving in 3.6, so.
But they had some from before.
They had
that
some
yeah,
before, okay,
they
all
had
right,
some.
interesting.
And the changes were because of the additional projects they've had going on. Yeah, they're developing.
I'm a majority, I mean, there are other
Yeah.
things such as, like I said, inflation,
Yeah.
raised some costs,
Yeah,
right of
sure.
way, we had some additional right of way needs. Some,
Right.
there's some of the stuff was ours, but
Yeah,
the
yeah.
majority of it was
How
at their
much room
request.
is between the road and the trail? It varies, I assume.
Probably, yeah, it varies. I mean, at least 5 feet.
That's good. Any improvement is great, because right
Yeah,
now
it's-
it's only this wide.
Yeah, it's a 2-year project. We're also gonna be putting in 6-foot shoulders.
Oh, so this is including
Yes,
expanding the shoulders.
Yep.
Are you doing so there's two lanes and then a center lane going in sometimes, or
it's sometimes.
sometimes, right? Turning lane. And then you've got the shoulders, you're expanding the shoulders. Right now, they're only this wide, so it's gonna be 6 feet.
Further to the
Okay.
south, they're 6 feet right now, but as you go
Okay.
further north, they get narrower. But yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna make them all 6 feet.
Okay, and that's where, I mean, the school is up near the north, so
Yeah.
that's where, I mean, they walk on that street all the time, so.
Yeah.
um,
we did
There was a major accident down there where someone walking, pedestrian almost lost their life. Couldn't see
Yeah.
him. There's no room down there, so it is needed for safety also.
Yeah, it's all the time. I mean, I live
Yep.
there. I see accidents there all the time.
We did work closely with the town of Henrietta.
Good.
They opted to
Okay.
not make bicycle lanes because they wanted people on the trail.
Yeah,
So
it's good.
Right.
that's why we kept them shoulders.
I'm glad the students' parents will be happy.
Yep.
So
in there, yeah. Any other comments? Other than, I'm happy to see safety being added. Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you, Tom, for
Thank you.
coming in. Nice job.
thank you.
Other business?
So I will share with the board that the county Department of Plan Development is hosting 3 public workshops next week to discuss the agricultural and farmland protection plan, and they include 2 in-person workshops, which will be held next Tuesday, March 26th, from 6 to 7 at Arden Town Hall or Meeting Community Room. And on next Wednesday, March 27th, from 6 to 7 at Pittsburgh Community Center. And in addition to the in-person workshop, we also hosting 1 virtual workshop on Wednesday, March 27th via Zoom from noon to 1. And I will pass the flyers and feel free to share. And if anyone want to know about the farmland protection plan update, Pat Hooch is the project manager for the plan, and a little information of the farmland protection plan. So Monroe County has the first agriculture and farmland protection plan in 1999. So it has been 20 years. And so this update will be trying to learn the 20 years experience and recommend policies and projects to ensure agricultural land and the farm operations support and thrive for the next 20 years. And the timeline, Pat, correct me if I'm wrong, so the plan is currently under development and will be developed over the next 8 months. And leaded by the Department of Plan Development, and also from our advisory committees of farmers and leaders, and also from our Ag and Farmland Protection Board, which which is Legislator Colby is the chair of the
Yes.
board. Thank you.
The only thing I have to add is that you're correct, it's about 8 months. So these meetings are introductory meetings to help people understand the planning process. Make sure we engage with farmers, landowners who may rent their farms or rent their land, I should say, to farmers, and then anyone else who may be interested in the Monroe County agricultural economy, which is a lot of us, because a lot of us use the U-Pick, Christmas trees, all that stuff, which is a part of it. And I encourage you to attend or share this with your networks to get people to attend. And then the goal in the long term is to have a draft out before the end of 2024 and potentially to the Agricultural and Farmland Protection Board, and then the county legislature shortly thereafter.
Great. Thank you. Any other business? Comments from board members? If not, do you know if we have any meeting items for the 28th? When is the deadline for that we, if something pops up? Is it a
So
week?
that would be 2 days before, so the next Tuesday, I
All
will
right.
send out the cancellation notice.
Okay, great. So it's still on the calendar, March 28th, at a regularly scheduled meeting at 3:30, but you'll hear from Yishan a couple days ahead of time if it's canceled. And then our next one after that is the April 25th at 3:30. Need a motion for adjournment, please. Thank you, Mr. Franklin. Thank you, Andrew. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Great to see everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you for all your hard